It's good to see everybody.
There you go.
Leave meeting.
That's that. They added that feature
Gave me
months
an
ago.
option.
And that's what everybody said. They're just like, oh my God, what was that?
No way I'm missing this. Let me kind of resituate myself here.
Check out that title. 1210.
Let's see here.
Oh, Sam.
All right, there's
I made
Sam.
it.
Good.
Good deal.
Good.
All right.
1210 downtown.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
How are
Good
you?
to see you, Sam.
Good.
Bob and Nancy, that's new artwork. I don't remember that.
Hey.
Where is it?
That's
I
the
like
that's
that.
the background. You can pick different backgrounds.
Aha.
That's the real background.
The real background is shaking her head that you're fooling us. So
Yeah, she's monitoring everything.
yeah.
I haven't seen them for years and she's still shaking her head.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it never changes.
Jane, are Chip and Kate with you?
They left.
Did they? Okay.
Ah,
Yeah, they needed to get going, so.
I'm so glad you could join.
Me too. It's very nice.
I'm gonna see if I can help out here with the girls for a second. I'll be back on in just a minute.
Jane, you said Chip is not going to be available?
Look how
Correct.
big she is.
Kate and Chip are
Oh,
in
okay.
Texas somewhere.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, we may have to punt a little bit then. That's okay.
Wow. Why-
Okay.
Right, wreck the whole thing, right?
No,
Give it
no,
all to Jane.
no worries.
Give
I'll
it to
just
Jane.
flip it back to Jane.
Here's Brian's daughter.
Yeah. She's all set.
Mhm.
How many iPads?
Who is that?
Two of them gone.
The girl,
He
Oh,
is.
Brian, yeah.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Waving.
Sydney,
Mhm. Look how
Sydney.
big she is.
huge.
Whose arm was that? Like an elbow. Ah.
And the partner.
Oh, close up.
Wow, they're so big. I found my turn.
Da, da,
Amy.
da.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, Ma.
Oh. Muted.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Unmuted.
Unmuted.
And the chat's open as well. Everyone always forgets about the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Wow.
I kind of like just the use of Helvetica with the name. Black
You know what?
screen.
You don't want to change the font, Jeffrey?
No, the font's fine.
Is that okay? Okay. I want to make sure.
I don't think it's real Helvetica. but-
It's Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Julia.
Lisa,
Hi.
Hello.
Hey,
unmute.
Brian. Oh,
unmute. Unmute.
happy birthday, Brian.
Happy
Ah,
Hey.
What was that?
we can unmute now, but once we get started, then everybody will mute, so it doesn't
Yeah.
go too crazy.
We were gonna mute you all.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that. That's right.
David has he's the master controller on this.
Yes.
Oh,
Huh?
That's
What's
like-
that?
I had that before.
let's do this. I'm gonna make Bob Gelman a co-host. I'm gonna make
Gonna mute everybody else.
Alan a co-host.
Who's Jane?
Anybody else want to be co-host? As long as I'm co-hosting people.
Nope.
Nope.
Who's got the feedback?
Oh,
Yeah, who's got the feedback going? It's a psychedelic freak out.
Should I mute myself? Everybody else is muted.
No, you sound okay.
You sound
Okay.
fine, Sam.
So nice to see you, Sam. If they can hear us. Sam Liz. Jana.
Yeah. The more the merrier. That's good.
Hi, Sarah.
Let's go up here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi there.
Hi.
Oh, Sarah.
I think you're on mute. I think so. So take yourself off mute. if you
No,
want.
you're not on mute. We can hear
We
you.
can hear you. I can hear.
You want to sit on my lap? Cindy, you want to sit on my lap?
Okay, so Bob, can you hear me?
Because Alan. and Brian-
in the middle?
There's Carrie.
Yeah,
Bob and Nancy earlier.
because we can grab it when we need it.
Okay, I think we did it.
It's not imperative if you're on the table.
Guess you have to use
I've
volume.
had so much fried matzo today, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
There's like a-
Yeah,
Hey,
I changed my virtual background.
I see Sam.
Yep.
Okay, Bob Gilman, can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect, thank you.
Coming through
Figured
just
it out,
fine.
our text system here. Do we have?
Hi, Charlie.
I'm not eating it. I'm just putting it on that. But I'm right.
I think, should I change it?
You want to sit on my lap, sweetie?
Oh,
Yeah. No, you sit. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can just.
Yeah.
Noah, this is fine.
Do you see all your cousins?
mhm.
Your cousins.
Rachel, what do you have on your head?
The filter on the Zoom.
Oh.
There's Steve.
Is that Rachel?
The filter on the plant.
Loose. Hi, guys.
Put a little plant on her head.
I skip my- my- event.
There's Sam, our cousin Sam.
David and Lisa. Wear it.
Yep.
Bob and Nick.
Okay, now we're.
Yep.
Oh, good.
And Lizzie. Yep. Folks are coming on. We'll wait a couple of more minutes to make sure everybody has a chance to zoom in.
We don't need to leave it on.
No, film, filter on.
So,
No, it's that.
Hi,
No.
Jeff
Schneider. Jules. And Sarah and Ryan.
Brian.
You've known me too long.
Oh my God.
Beard.
Parsley.
In front, really distract.
Larry.
Coming over, or are you staying over there? Do
Larry there?
you want me to come over there?
Hi, Uncle Carrie.
Julius.
Aaron's there.
Hi, Bob. Larry Julius.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Larry.
How you doing?
Good, good. Yes, made it. Here's Dan, made it. Very good.
Yes.
I'm waiting.
All the kids look like they sprouted.
Larry Gelman.
Yes,
What
sir.
time is it, Larry?
It's the middle of the night here.
Isn't that what Sam's supposed to say?
Actually, it's 7 o'clock at his time in the morning.
Morning.
It's early for Sam.
Yeah, it's 4:30 in the afternoon here.
Okay.
What's that thing on the bed behind Sam?
Thing.
Yeah, what's that thing?
Little boy. I just got a message from Paul. He says, is the Seder starting?
Yeah.
I have the link.
David, huh? Hi, Silas.
Is it Silas?
Oh,
Yeah.
Silas.
Sure.
Silas.
Hi.
How are you?
I hit the.
Silas's voice is deeper than mine is.
Uh-huh. Sam's got his hands full down there.
Oh, look at
Uh-huh.
that.
Great. Great. We're waiting for it. What, Trace is on it? Yep. Yeah.
She may not come on to.
We may have maybe another minute or so and we'll kick things off, but just want to welcome everybody. I think this is a record-setting turnout as far as everything that David and Alan have put together. So we're all looking forward to it. I will try to kind of cue people up as we go, and there are a couple of substitutions, so we'll kind of take it one step at a time, but maybe give it another minute or two before we kick things off. Alan, will that work? There he is, Alan. Yeah. And David will probably control all of the muting as far as that, so we don't want everybody to be verbal during the thing. It gets a little chaotic. So David has the official control over the microphones on everything.
Good luck muting me.
It's a total hazard.
Well, no, not if you keep, if you stay seated.
Made it.
Don't move around.
No.
Toy store.
Sydney, you're going to be so amazing. So good. So good last night. Couldn't get over it.
Oh, there's Sam.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to unmute people?
Yeah.
Oh, good luck with that.
Hi, Theo.
Can't-
You tired?
Oh, I'm not tired.
He's
Oh,
not
good,
tired.
because I am.
Oh, Dad.
Well, we might,
Nice that you woke up for this.
yeah. We'll check with David to make sure he's got everything squared away. If we're ready to kick things off. David, what do you say?
Yeah, you may mute everybody except for who and who and who.
Yeah, and as we go, I'll try and cue them up, David. There are a couple of kind of substitutions as far as who's saying what. So I'll try and give you enough lead time as we go on that.
If I get lost because somebody else is under somebody else's name, just kind of like try and wave at me or something.
Yeah.
Like Nancy's with you, except you're listed as Bob, except if I'm looking at the list of people.
Did we all wish Brian a happy birthday?
And we all need to wish Brian a happy birthday.
Exactly.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Birthday.
you.
So I'm gonna
Thank
mute,
God for Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute everybody if Bob's ready.
I think we'll kick it off.
Okay. Here we
Well,
go.
again, welcome everybody. We'll try and move this quite along because I'm assuming folks do want to get something to eat at some point at the halftime, but we'll kick things off. We're actually going to start on page 5, and Nancy's going to start with the memory lane piece. Let me know if you have any questions, kind of just, you can raise your hand or I'll bounce it to David on the technical side. Go ahead.
How do stories help us remember?
Uh-oh.
That didn't work.
That didn't work. Hang on, time. So
You can't unmute her.
I can't unmute you. You got to unmute yourself.
Right.
Okay.
So everyone's muted right now. And when you're ready, unmute yourself.
And are you going to share the Haggadah, Dave?
We tried it earlier. It was too small.
Okay. Okay.
You want to put it out there? in case somebody
Does
needs it?
anybody need a copy though? I could either text it to them or I could share it
You
through.
can do it on the phone.
Okay. All right. So
Okay,
back to
go.
Bob and Nancy.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Oh, I'd like these.
Okay. Every year we celebrate Passover to remember how God led us out of slavery and into freedom. How do we do this remembering? Do we do it by studying maps, memorizing dates, and taking quizzes? No, we do it by telling stories. Stories have a special power. When we hear them, our minds try to relate to them. If you tell me a story about something that happened to you, it will probably make me think about when something similar happened to me, or a time when I felt the same way. Many times I will respond to your story with a story of my own. In this way, stories build on one another. Other people's stories become part of our story, and our stories become part of their story. This happens when we talk to one another and when we read stories too. Think about Moses, Pharaoh, and everyone else we will hear about tonight. When you hear their stories, do you try to connect them to something you have experienced in your own life? Who does Moses remind you of? Who does Pharaoh remind you of? What does it mean to feel free? We will all have different answers to these questions. Someone once said, a writer begins a story and a reader finishes it. Every single person who reads a book reads a different book because we can't help but mix our personal stories with the stories we encounter. This is why stories mean so much to us. They don't just give us a chance to learn, they also give us a chance to connect.
Great. Okay, now on the top of page 6, Lisa will go over, but that's actually 6 and 7, the Seder plate.
Okay, the zebra, the lamb shank bone, maror, which is the bitter herb, the karpas, which is the vegetable, or I guess the parsley for us, beitza, the egg, hazeret, which is the second bitter herb, and haroset, which is the sweetness of the platter.
Very good. Now we're going to go to the top of page 9. Lisa Friedman will start on lighting the candles for us. Top of page 9.
Yeah, that's Lisa.
She's getting it all set.
She got some candles.
And you can unmute, Lisa.
Was I muted?
Yeah.
Too bad. Up now?
Sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Very good.
Thank you.
We'll
Twice as
move
a
it over.
charm.
We'll move it over to your compatriot David on the top of page 10. We're going to go that in terms of the order, page 10 and 11. David will kind of list those as we go forward.
The word Seder means order in Hebrew. We call the Passover celebration and meal a Seder because there's a particular order we follow. We've outlined it step by step below. Many people begin their Seders by reading or singing these steps. We can do that now, if that's our tradition. Well, our tradition is to sing it, so
We'll sing it.
we'll sing it.
Go for it.
Ready?
Kadei shorchas karpas yachas magid matzah motzi matzah maror korech shulchan orech safun barev halel nirtzah.
Well done. Very good. Now we're going to start actually on the top of page 13, because this is the second night. We'll start with the Kaddish.
No.
And I'll start. It's not Shabbat. So we'll start Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacharbanu mikol olam v'romamanu l'kol ason v'kiddishanu b'mitzvotav. V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava moadim l'simcha chanin l'sason Es Yom Hag Hamatzos Hazeh Siman Cherusenu Mikra Kodesh Zecher Lefiat Mitzrayim Kivana V'charta Uviksona Kedashta Kol Ha'amim Vayomru Kadshehe Kagasuv Kakason. It's too small to read it. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Yisrael Bahazmanim. First, we did the first blessing of the wine. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe. You have chosen us from all peoples, exalting us and sanctifying us with mitzvot. In your love, our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy, and this festival of Matzot, seasons of our freedom. A holy commemoration, a reminder of the exodus from Egypt. God, you've chosen us from all peoples, consecrating us to your service, giving us a sign of your love and favor, and the festivals, a time of gladness and joy. Blessed are you who sanctifies Shabbat, our people Israel, and the festivals. Now, actually, we can drink the first cup of wine because it's the second night. We're going to go to page 15. And Rachel will help us out through the middle of the page under the top secret.
Yep. Oh. What's with all the fours? The Haggadah includes 4 questions, 4 cups of wine, and 4 sons. What gives? Why so many fours? One reason for all these fours goes back to the Exodus story. At one point in the story, when Moses fears that things are getting worse for the Israelites, God assures Moses that things are about to get better. God says, "Behotzeti, and I will bring you out. Behitzalti, and I will deliver you. Viga'alti, and I will redeem you. Velakakti, and I will take you." With these words, God vows to take the Israelite slaves out of Egypt, to deliver them to a new land, to help them become free people, and to be their God. The fours of the Seder remind us of these promises. Each glass of wine or grape juice at the Seder corresponds to one of these vows. There are other, is that it?
That was it.
Oh, cool.
No problem. Now we're going to have Chris and Tori kind of tag team on 16. Chris will do the Urchatz and Tori will do the sections under the Karpas. Chris will have to unmute.
Well,
There she goes.
Now we wash our hands with water. No soap or blessing necessary. What if your hands are already clean? You still have to wash. This commandment traces its roots back to the Torah book of Exodus, when Jews were very concerned about feeling clean and pure before a meal. Today, some of us might also think about how the water makes our minds feel. Some people wash their hands at the table with a bowl of water and a cup. Others wash their hands at the sink. Anyone renewed now? More ready to focus?
Well done.
Thank you.
Now we'll recruit Tori to start in on the Karpas. Brian will have to unmute.
Start again.
The good news, we get to eat. The bad news, it's only a vegetable like celery or parsley dipped in salt water or vinegar. The liquid represents the tears of the Israelite slaves in Egypt who were sad and scared. Remember what we said at the beginning of this Haggadah about eating memories. Well, here goes. First, okay. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei, hold on. Peri ha'adamah.
Right.
Got it.
Now dip the vegetable in salt water and eat it.
That's it.
Okay.
Well done. Got a handful there. Now we're going to go to the top of page 18. David will start in terms of the Yachatz.
Yachatz. Here, a grown-up reaches under the covered pile of matzah and takes out the middle piece. Then that person breaks this piece in half. The larger piece is the afikomen, which comes from a Greek word for dessert, literally that which comes after. and it's the very last thing we're supposed to eat at the Passover Seder. At some point in the next hour or so, the afikomen may be wrapped in a napkin and hidden. There's probably a prize for the child who finds it, so keep your eyes on the afikomen. Even if it's not what you had in mind for dessert, don't worry, we're guessing there's probably some macaroons and jelly rings coming too. You want me to keep going?
Absolutely. You're on a
Right.
roll, David. Go ahead.
Why? Well, this night's all about telling our story to the next generation, to the children. The Talmudic rabbis suggest various ways to keep kids interested and awake enough to stay involved. One of them, Rabbi Eliezer, says, we snatch matzahs on the night of Passover in order that the children should not fall asleep. Over time, this action, snatching matzahs, got connected to the strange fact that we end the meal by eating matzah again, the afikomen. Thus, snatching the matzahs came to mean snatch them and hide them until the end, and turned into the most beloved way to keep children excited during this totally normal, not at all long dinner. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right was the operative word there, David. Very well done. Now, Steve, my brother, will help us out as far as the halachma. You can actually do that on the top of page 19, Steve, as far as the just the English paragraph. This is the bread of affliction.
Let me see if I can find that.
Take your time. And then after Steve, we're going to have Benji help us out in terms of the lion's share of the rest of 19. But you'll kick it off at the top as far as the bread of affliction.
So this is before we were slaves in Egypt?
We're on the top of page 19.
Yeah. It's before the 4 questions?
Yep.
Dad, it's the 21st page of the document, but it's page 19 in terms of the number and the lower right.
Oh, yes, this is the bread of affliction.
There you
that
go.
Our ancestors ate in Egypt. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are in need come and share the Passover meal. Now we are here. Next year, we will be in the land of Israel. This year, we are slaves. Next year, we will be free.
Well done. Thanks, Benji, for keeping your dad, where he's supposed to be on track. Benji actually will start with what, and then he can finish the balance of the paragraphs on page 19.
So I read between why and the end of the page.
You got it.
Okay, why? A lot is going on here. First, we are reminding ourselves that we are not only supposed to learn about the Exodus, we actually feel like it is happening to us too. Second, we are remembering that there are still many people out there today who suffer like we once did in Egypt. The act of sharing this food, even if it's just a bland piece of matzah, helps us to feel free. It's hard to share when you are a poor, hungry slave. Now it's unlikely that a hungry person we don't know will hear us say this and then come to our house tonight to share our food. But perhaps sometime soon we can donate food, money, or time to help to feed hungry people. Third, even those who are not hungry may want to observe Passover but have nowhere to go. Maybe they are new in town. Maybe their family lives far away. We must do our part to make sure that they are welcomed into our community. Perhaps we can even make space for them at our own Seder table. Fourth, the Seder is more than just a meal, it's a journey. And if you've ever taken a trip, you know how our feelings tend to change throughout it. At the beginning, the matzah is the bread of affliction. At the end, it's the bread of freedom. At the beginning, the charoset represents the mortar used to make bricks as slaves. Later on, it's the sweet taste of freedom. At the beginning of the Seder, it's as if we are slaves, but by the end, we are free.
Well done. Now we're going to start on top of page 20. We're going to have kind of a tag team. Brian has volunteered for Sydney and Mimi, I think, to do the 4 questions in Hebrew. And then Sarah, if you can have Silas kind of help out and just do it in English, we'll do them in Hebrew from the top, going to continue on page 29, and then we'll come back and finish them up in English, if that works. Okay?
All right, Sydney, it's time. Ready? Yeah. Okay, sing it. Tana, louder. Yiko halela, shebecho halela, Anu ochlin hametz umatzah. Hametz umatzah. Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh. Kulo matzah. Sydney, come on. Kulo matzah. Shebacho halelo. Oh, lost it. Shebacho halelo. Anu ochlin she'ar yirakot.
There you go.
She'ar yirakot. Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh. Maror. Maror. Shebacho halelo. In anu mapilin.
Afilu ba'anahat. Afilu ba'bilihat.
Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh. Sheteh.
Omi. Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh.
Sheteh.
Omi.
Shebacho halelo. Anu ochlin. Ben yoshvein. Ben yoshvein. Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh. Kulanu. Halayla hazeh. Halayla hazeh.
Well done.
Yay.
Well done. Very nicely done.
It's I.
Now, if Silas can help us, we'll finish them up and just do them in English. Great.
Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights we eat leavened products and matzah. Why on this night only matzah? On all other nights we eat all vegetables. Why on this night only bitter herbs?
Uh-oh. Hang on. I'm gonna change page.
You're doing fine.
Here we go. Here we go.
On all other nights we don't dip our food even once. Why on this night do we dip twice? On all other nights we on all other nights we eat sitting or reclining. Why on this night do we all recline?
Very good. Very good. We'll start in now on the middle of page 21. Sam Schneider will help us as far as telling us something funny.
Great. And my friend Asia is going to help out. This is Asia.
Excellent.
We'll alternate.
Works for me.
Want to know something funny? The Seder doesn't usually directly answer these questions. Why do you think that is?
However, in case you are wondering, here are the answers.
When the Israelites were leaving Egypt, they had to leave in a hurry. They prepared bread, but since there was no time to let the dough rise, they made a flatbread called matzah instead. Tonight, and for the next week, this is the bread we eat too.
The bitter herbs remind us of the bitterness of slavery in the land of Egypt.
Dipping karpas in salt water or vinegar recalls the tears of slaves, and dipping bitter herbs into haroset suggests that the promise of something better sweetens even the most challenging times.
We recline because we are no longer slaves, and we have the luxury to relax sometimes too.
Very nicely done. Thank you. Now we're actually going to go to the top of page 23. Brendan will help us start us on the Avodim Hayinu.
I'll do the start of the recite together, but I'll do solo. Is that my understanding? Okay.
Whatever's
Avadim Hayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim, v'yotzienu Adonai Eloheinu Misham Biad Hazakam Uvizroa Natuya. Ve'ilu lo hotzi hakadosh baruch hu et avotenu memitzrayim. Hare anu uvanenu uvne benenu Mishuvadim Hayinu Lefaro Bemitzrayim. Ve'filu kulanu Chachamim kulanu Nivonim kulanu Zekenim kulanu Yodim et HaTorah. Mitzvah Aleinu L'Safer B'tziyat Mitzrayim V'chol Hamarbeh L'Safer B'tziyat Mitzrayim Hareze Mesubach. So we were slaves to Pharaoh in the land of Egypt, and the Lord our God. Yeah, do I keep going?
Yeah, no, you're doing fine.
We were slaves to Pharaoh in the land of Egypt, and the Lord our God took us out from there with a strong hand and an outstretched forearm. And if the Holy One, blessed be God, had not taken our ancestors from Egypt, behold, we and our children's children would all be enslaved to Pharaoh in Egypt. And even if we were all sages, all discerning, all elders, all knowledgeable about the Torah, it would be a commandment upon us to tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt. And anyone who adds and spends extra time in telling the story of the Exodus from Egypt, behold, he is praiseworthy. So that's all of us.
Well done. Yeah.
Interpreted.
Now we're going to call on Larry to kind of do the intro as far as top of page 25 on the blessings and the 4 children. And if he takes that down just halfway through the paragraph, then we'll assign the specifics for the 4 children to ask the specifics.
Okay. We now say 4 blessings for the 4 Torah passages we were about to read in the story of the 4 children. Tonight, we learn a story about 4 children, and each of them has a different attitude toward the Passover story. One is wise, one is wicked, one is innocent, and one doesn't know how to ask.
And Alan indicated that this was completely done by random. There was no predetermined, assignment of the 4. The way it came out, essentially, we'll start off with Kristen, who will be the wise child. Sam Gelman will be the wicked child. Sarah will be the innocent child. And then we'll finish up with Linda as far as the child who does not know how to ask her parents anything.
Well, I am filling in for Kristen because
That's
she doesn't feel comfortable around Jewish people. And she's out getting the final things we need for our visit to Sarah. I would like to point out that Sam and Suzanne and Gabriel made a brief silent appearance earlier, and hopefully we'll get to see them again. But I will continue. The wise child asks his parents, what is the meaning of the rituals, rules, and laws that the eternal our God has commanded you? I want to understand all the rules surrounding our Seder. His parents answer, we are so happy you asked. I don't remember that from the Gus Gelman table. Wise children want to understand what is going on during the Seder so they can participate now and one day explain the Seder to their children. One of the most important rules is found in the Mishnah, a very old book of Jewish stories and laws. It says we may not eat any dessert after we eat the Pesach sacrifice. A long time ago, Jews used to honor the holiday by sacrificing an animal. Today, we do it with the Seder and by eating matzah. The law is one of the last ones we are supposed to learn about the Seder. We are teaching it to you because you are very curious and seem to want to know a lot of the details and the reasons behind what we do.
Well done. All yours, Sam.
Okay. The wicked child asks his parents, what is this service to you? His parents answer, that's actually not a nice thing to say, but you might not even realize why. In your question, you asked why Passover matters to you. A better question would be, why does this worship matter to us? By saying to you, you act like you are not part of the Jewish people. Feeling connected to one another is a very important part of Judaism. The Torah says, for the sake of what the Lord did for me when I went out of Egypt. Notice how it says for me. When we read that line, we are all supposed to remember that God freed all of us. By the way, we know this wise child also asked a question ending in you. Maybe we said his question was wise and your question was wicked because we weren't paying enough attention to you. Parents can be totally unfair, or maybe we didn't pay attention to how the wise child asked his question because he seemed more interested in the Seder and his question was very specific.
Very good.
The innocent child asks her parents, "What is this?" Her parent answers, "We will start with a simple explanation. By the strength of hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, from the house of slaves. You don't seem to understand very much about the Seder yet, and that is okay. You're doing the right thing by starting with simple questions. Eventually, when you learn more, you might ask more specific ones."
This would be Linda. Linda there?
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
There we go.
All right. The child who doesn't know how to ask her parents anything. Her parents observe her silence and realize they need to help her start the conversation. Maybe this is because she doesn't understand anything, or maybe it's because she thinks she already understands everything. But no matter how much you know or think you know, there's always more questions to ask. Her parents answer. The Torah says that the parents are responsible for teaching our children about the Exodus. And you shall explain to your children that day. It is because what the Lord did for me when I went free from Egypt. We are supposed to do this with all children, no matter what kind of questions they ask, no matter if they ask them kindly or rudely, not at all. No matter how a child is acting or how he or she learns best, we must now find a way to teach them the lessons of Passover.
Thank you. Okay. On that very bottom of 27, Tim, if you can help us out, starting with, it's easy to read these questions.
Sure. It's easy to read these questions and think, which child am I? Which one is my sibling, my parents, my relatives? A famous 20th century rabbi named Menachem Mendel Schneerson once wrote that we should all think of ourselves as all four children. Each and every one of us has moments when we are wise, wicked, simple, and disconnected. The story of the four children reminds us to be aware that we all have all of these sides within us.
Very good. Now, on top of page 28, we're going to ask Tom and Lucy to kind of tag team on the top secret. I'll let Tom start under the rebellion, and then Lucy halfway down, starting with they were saved. You can take that down to the bottom of the page.
Great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy Passover. The rebellion began with two midwives by Rabbi Daniel Rutenberg. The Exodus story begins with midwives, and in a way, it ends with midwives too. Midwives, in case you don't know, are women who deliver babies. They're still midwives today, though now they can be women and men, and some of you may have been delivered by one. Usually when we tell the story of Passover, we start with Moses, but actually the rebellion begins with two midwives named Shiphrah and Puah. These women were instructed by Pharaoh to kill every Israelite boy during childbirth, but they bravely defied Pharaoh and didn't do it. Instead of killing the boys, they just lied to Pharaoh and said they didn't get there before the baby was born and couldn't do it. This was some pretty cool civil disobedience, right?
They even saved Moses' life. And since Moses would later lead the Israelites out of slavery, we have Shiphrah and Puah to thank for making our journey to freedom possible. Some people think of the whole Exodus story as a birth story. The Israelites went through a narrow place, like a birth canal. The Hebrew word for Egypt, Mitzrayim, literally means narrow place. The waters of the Red Sea parted, like the waters that leave the womb before birth. Eventually, when they reached dry ground, Miriam, a prophet and Moses' sister, took a tambourine in her hand, and she and the other women began to sing and dance. They were like midwives. The nation of Israel was being born, and there were the women helping to bring this new people into a new world.
Very good. Is Aaron available? I had him down for the Vihishiamda. I thought he was in earlier. If not, Alan, you can probably take that at the top of page 29 for us.
Okay, where's the
There he
thing?
is. I thought I saw him.
Yep. All right, well, then you hold that. Oh. All right, where am I reading?
Top of 29, the Vihishiamda.
Like where it starts, now it's time?
In the English, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, now it's time to raise our glass and remember that the Jewish people's struggle for life and freedom didn't end when the Israelites left Egypt. Throughout history, others have tried to harass or get rid of us, but we are still here. When we read this declaration, we honor the ways God has helped save us from destruction. Vihisha amdal avatenu belanu shalahad yo vadamad alenu lachalotenu. Ella shabachol dovar dor omdim alenu lachalotenu behakadosh baruch hu matzilenu miyadam.
Very
good. And this, God and the Torah, is what kept our ancestors and what keeps us surviving. Not only one arose and tried to destroy us, rather in every generation they tried to destroy us. But Adonai rescues us from their hands. This
Well
time
done.
we put our glasses down without taking a sip.
Very good. Now on the top of page 30, we'll have Jeffrey do the first half under the story of the Exodus, and then Carrie will start halfway down under No Way and take it to the bottom of page 30.
Typically at Passover, we don't talk about Moses much because we're supposed to focus our attention on how God saved us. That said, here's a quick refresher of the Exodus story from the Torah. If you already know this story by heart, feel free to skip ahead to the 10 plagues now. All right, we didn't need that. The Exodus story begins with Joseph, an Israelite, the favored son of the biblical patriarch Jacob, and a trusted aide of Pharaoh. Joseph was a close friend of the Egyptians and even helped save the Egyptian people from famine, which is when people don't have enough food. But after Joseph grew old and died, Pharaoh decided he didn't want to be nice to the Israelites anymore and made them slaves. That's pretty awful, but it gets even worse. Pharaoh didn't want there to be too many Israelites in case they decided to fight back and demand their freedom. So he ordered all newborn Israelite boys to be tossed into the Nile River.
No way, said one young mother named Yocheved, who refused to drown her baby. Instead, she secretly left her newborn son in a basket at the edge of the river. Shortly after, Pharaoh's daughter discovered the boy, decided to raise him as her own child. She named him Moses. Then Yocheved, who was actually Moses' mom, became the baby's nurse. We cried out to the Lord God of our parents, and the Lord heard our voice and saw our abuse and our trouble and our oppression. Moses grew up to be a young man who cared about justice. So when he saw one of the Pharaoh's deputies beat an Israeli slave, that made him so mad, a fit of rage. Moses killed the Egyptian taskmaster. He then ran away because staying behind would only lead to him getting punished by Egyptians. He left Egypt to become a shepherd and married Zipporah.
I'm next. One day,
Lucy, thanks.
hey, one day while tending to his sheep, Moses saw a bush on fire. Strangely, however, it wasn't turning black or to ash or anything like that. Even stranger, the bush began to speak. It was God's voice telling Moses to free the Israelite slaves. So go back to Egypt, Moses went with God's message. Let my people go. But Pharaoh still cried, and selfish said no. Keep going?
Yep, you're doing fine.
Okay, God did not like Pharaoh's answer and responded with the 10 plagues. This is what we're going through right now. First, God turned the waters of Egypt into blood. Then God brought frogs. We got those. Lice, wild beasts, cattle disease, boils, hail. We had that today. Locusts that destroyed crops, and darkness that lasted 3 whole days. This was all terrible, but God's final plague was worst of all, the death of every firstborn in the land of Egypt.
Very good. Now we'll start in on the top of page 32. Tracy, if you can say that first paragraph And then we'll go through them. I'll recite them in terms of the Hebrew, and then collectively we can do the English under each plague as we go. You did a nice job with the dipping of the wine, Trace. So that's why you're elected tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It's time to recite the 10 plagues. As you say each one, dip one finger, many use their pinkies, into your wine or grape juice and touch it to your plate. Do not lick your fingers. By not tasting these drops, we are saying we take no joy when other people suffer, even if the people suffering are our enemies. Their pain makes our joy a little less joyful, and in this case, our glasses a little less full.
So we'll be starting here on the top of page 35. Everybody ready to go? Dom. Sephardeia. Hinim. Arov. Dever. Shechin. Barad. Arbe. Hoshech. Makat Bacharot. Well done. Simi, if you can help us now, starting with the Exodus story.
I have to unmute myself. Okay. The Exodus story, part 2. Now back to our story. Pharaoh, worn down by the 10 plagues, finally agreed to free the Israelites. Unfortunately, the Israelites couldn't really believe him. In the past, Pharaoh would say one thing and then do another. The Israelites had no choice but to get out of there fast before Pharaoh could change his mind. The preparation for their journey began right away, and they didn't have much time. Rather than wait for their bread to rise and bake, they grabbed the dough and let it bake in the sun as they ran away. That's how we got the flat, crunchy matzah instead of soft, fluffy bread. And just as the Israelites predicted, Pharaoh changed his mind about letting his slaves go free. Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt when Pharaoh cut off their escape route and forced them to head right up to the banks of the Red Sea. Onward. And the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and with great terror, and with signs, and with portents. A dead end? Not for God. Moses raised his staff over the water, and then God parted the sea. The water split, and suddenly, briefly, there was a sandy path right in the middle. The Israelites escaped, and the Egyptian soldiers chasing them were killed. This was the beginning of the Israelites' 40-year trek through the desert. The journey will be so hard that they will miss Egypt, but they keep going. They are on their way to the promised land.
Well done. Now we're going to be starting on the top of page 36. We'll do the Dayenu, and we can certainly do them as a group. I'll try and keep things moving. There are 3 verses that we'll do, and they're highlighted in bold. So we'll they start on 36, they finish up on page 37, and we'll just kind of run through them as soon as we go.
Put on your glasses.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Some of the intro is, now it's time for a song to thank God for everything involved in bringing us out of slavery. Here we say that even God, if only God had done 1 or 2 things of those things, it would have been enough. But as it turned out, God arranged for a great many more miracles to secure our freedom, and we're so grateful for that. David, you said we would start in B flat for tonight? Okay. First verse. Ilu hotzi hotzi anu mitzrayim, hotzi anu mitzrayim, Ilu hotzi hotzi anu hatzam lanu pesach Shabbat hatzam lanu pesach Shabbat dayenu. Dainu, Dainu, Ilu natan watan manu natan manu et hatorah natan manu es hatorah daenu. Daenu, 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 daenu. Close enough. Close enough. Very good. Well done. We're gonna now have Julia help us. We're on the top of page 38 with Rabban Gamliel and his 3 things.
Gorgeous vocals, everyone. Rabban Gamliel was a very wise Jewish teacher who lived around 2,000 years ago. He used to say that everyone needs to discuss 3 things on Passover: the Passover sacrifice, matzah, and maror. If we don't, he believed, we haven't fulfilled our obligation to observe the holiday. When we talk about these 3 things, it allows us to feel as though the Exodus is happening to us. Bechol dor vador chayavim anu lerot et atzmenu kilu yatzanu mimitzrayim.
Perfect.
Thank you. I practiced.
Well done. Now we're on the top of page 49. We'll start in with the Hallel. We're going to sing a song of praise, thanking God for taking us out of Egypt and leading us to a better place. Hallel literally means praise. We do just the first 3 verses on the top of 39. Hallelujah, hallelu avdei Adonai, hallelu et shem Adonai, yehi shem Adonai mivarach me'ata v'ad alom. Praise, O servants of the Lord, praise the Lord's name. May the Lord's name be blessed now and forevermore. God raises the poor from the dust, from the dung heap lifts the needy to seat him among princes, among the princes of his people. God seats the barren woman in her home, a happy mother of sons. Hallelujah. Now we're going to move to the top of page 41.
What about daughter? Yeah, really.
We want to make sure at this point that all of the glasses are topped off. That's important.
Appropriate.
Okay. And we can do this pretty much together for the second cup. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Very good. Now we have to double check. Is Charlie Stein with us this evening?
Here, thank you for having me.
No. You got this all laid out. Both Charlie and Kate can help us starting in the middle of page 41. We'll start with Charlie maybe for the Ratzah, and Kate can take over after that as we go into page 42.
Yeah, I think Ratzah, it's time to wash your hands again. This time there's a blessing, and that means that soon it's time to eat. Why? You may be wondering, didn't we just wash our hands? Usually washing our hands before a meal means we're about to eat, but not on Passover. At the Seder, we actually start the meal twice. The first time it's really just a pretend beginning. Go on?
Keep going, yep.
All right. The first time we wash, it seems like a normal holiday meal. We make kiddush, we wash. But now we notice something is wrong, observed the contemporary rabbi named Moroni Shapiro. We don't say a blessing, we break bread, but we don't eat it. As Rabbi Shapiro explains, on Passover, before we're ready to dig in, we must first tell the story of Exodus and taste the unusual foods on the Seder plate to understand better how they connect to that story.
Kate, you can start at the top of 42.
Bob, I think Kate had left Tucson, so maybe Jane Gelman can read Kate and Chip's parts.
Thank you, Alan. Top of 42.
Then we wash our hands again, and there's a blessing. We bless the matzah and we eat it.
the meal begins for a second time, and this time it's for real. You can either get up and go to the sink and use a cup there, or pass a bowl of water and a pitcher around the table. And as you are washing your hands, this is the blessing you say. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy through your commandments and commands us regarding the washing of the hands.
Very good. I've got Paul with the official Manischewitz background, which is very nicely done, by the way, Paul. You get some major credits as far as that's concerned. If you can take over in the middle of 42 as far as the motzi.
Yes. In English, right?
You got it.
It's time for the blessing over the bread, but because it's Passover, we'll be eating matzah. It's the same prayer, though, and you may know it because it's one of the very first prayers many Jewish children learn. Then there's a second blessing that mentions the matzah God commanded us to eat on Passover. Recite them now. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who brings forth bread from the ground.
And you're doing well. Just continue on the top of 43.
Great. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah.
Well done. Now you
Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy through your commandments and commands us to eat matzah.
Got it. Now you have a green light to start ahead and do that. In the middle of 43, I'll call upon Jane. Can you help us out with that as well? Middle of 43 down to the bottom.
Starting with Y?
Under it's crunch time.
Oh, it's crunch time.
Yeah.
Now you eat some matzah. Take a bite or 10, and you can lean back or even slouch if you want. As we already learned, the Israelites made matzah when preparing food for their journey out of Egypt. Eating this food doesn't just remind us of their harrowing escape, it also makes us feel like we are the ones leaving Egypt all these years later. Why? Why would anyone here describe matzah as a fancy, indulgent food? Does it bear any resemblance to, say, a bagel or warm challah fresh out of the oven? Nope. It's dry, it's brittle, and it tastes kind of like, well, nothing. Eating matzah is a humbling experience. The Torah calls it lechem oni, which means bread of affliction, or in other words, poor man's bread. Matzah reminds us of what it is like to live through hard times when we don't get to eat special things.
Well done. Larry, if you can help, Larry Brand, if you can help us on the top of 44, again, under memory lane about food memories.
Food Memories Are Powerful for Good Reason by John S. Allen. Many years ago, when I was a small child, I got separated from my parents at a store. The sales clerks who cared for me until my parents found me gave me popcorn in a little white box. Luckily, I still like popcorn, but to this day, popcorn makes me think of being lost in that store, bringing up negative memories of being lost and scared, and positive ones because eventually my parents found me and I was rescued. Why are food memories so powerful? It has to do with our inside works. You see, the chemical messengers in our body called hormones that are important for controlling our appetite and digesting food have strong connections to the part of the brain called the hippocampus that we need to form new memories. When we eat, our ability to remember is especially strong. For animals that have to move around to find their meals, it's really important for them to remember where they have found food in the past, so the connection between taste and memory makes perfect sense. For us humans, meals like the Passover Seder are not just food feasts, they're memory feasts too. Being with friends and family, connecting to our faith and history, and eating foods that remind us of our history and community make for a more memorable meal than your average lunchbox fare. Oh, and the hippocampus has strong connection to another part of the brain that helps control emotions. This means emotional memories about food are likely to stay with us for a very long time.
Terrific. Thank you. So now we're at the top of 45. Beth, if you can take care of that as far as the entire 45 under Moror.
Okay, the entire 45. So great to see all of my family here on the screen.
There you go.
Roar. The Israelites and everyone else who has ever been forced to work without any choice and not get paid for it suffered a lot. There is no sugarcoating how bad slavery was, which is why when we think about slavery, we don't eat sweet foods. Instead, we eat bitter foods, which remind us of the bitterness of slavery. A tiny bit of their pain is ours now to take in. And speaking of tiny, you only need a really tiny bit of these herbs to experience the bitterness. Here's the blessing. Oh boy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al achilat maror.
Excellent.
Good. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy through your commandments and commands us to eat maror. Now
Excellent.
set up, no leaning back here, and take a tiny bite. How bitter was it? Going back for more?
Well done.
Thank you.
Now we're at the top of page 46. If I can call on Lisa Gelman to take us through that as far as the Korah. And we're getting close to halftime, so we're moving right along.
A long time ago, there was a great rabbi named Hillel. He thought being kind was the most important thing, even more important than studying. He once said, "That which is hateful to you, do not do to others." That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary. Go and learn. Here.
Rabbi Hillel had a special Passover tradition. Every Seder, he would make a sandwich out of matzah, a slice of the sacrificial lamb, and a bitter herb. Since Jews don't sacrifice lambs anymore, today we make the sandwich with matzah, haroset, and a bitter herb. Now we are all going to do the same.
Zaker le mikadesh ke hilal kain asa hilal bizman she beit mikdash haya kayim haya korech matzah umaror ve'ochel ve'yachad lekayim ma sheni emar al matzot rorim yihlu
Good.
Sorry.
In memory of the temple, according to Hillel, this is what Hillel would do when the temple existed. He would wrap the matzah and maror and eat them together in order to fulfill what is stated. You should eat it upon matzah and marorim. So why? Well, it's kind of weird eating something bitter and sweet together at once, right? But eating the sandwich helps us feel all the complicated feelings of Passover at the same time. The bitter herbs remind us of the bitterness of slavery in Egypt and of our sad memories. The matzah and haroset remind us of the fact we are free and our sweet memories, and we're not supposed to forget either one. And believe it or not, the sandwich is actually pretty tasty. So give it a try and take a bite of your sandwich.
Well done. Well, now we made it to halftime, and depending on how much time you need in between, we kind of figured around maybe 35, 45 minutes as far as halftime. If that works for everybody, we'll maybe reconnect and have you come back on at about, how's 10 minutes to 8 o'clock? That's Central. Will that work?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Good deal. We'll see you in about 45 minutes.
All right.
Well done.
Bye.
Yeah.
That's well done, David. You have to go ahead and get a license to do that?
No.
Very good.
I will kind of splice everything, you know. And I'll have it posted tomorrow.
Okay, that's important.
The power of YouTube.
Yeah.
Simi, that's much better. I like the arrangement
Okay,
that
I
you got
keep
with the lighting.
moving things around,
Oh,
but
looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
there. This way I can sit in my chair.
Very good.
On your new rug.
Yes, on my new rug. Thank you, David. On these behind me.
Where was that be?
I know. And all pull together.
Well, the odd cases.
You got folks coming back on. Good. Very good.
Oh, that light's still layering back there.
Light looks fine, Sim. Looks
Okay.
okay. Sorry.
It does.
Yeah.
You must be doing something right, Bob.
How much hailing here?
Yeah, Alan, there must be 2 active in your house somewhere.
Yeah, it says 2 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Alan's muted, yeah. Are you muting us?
Mute everybody and then we can all come back up.
No, it's okay.
No?
Bob, you must be doing something right. They're coming back in droves.
That's a good thing.
Thank you.
They want to see that they're properly represented when David puts this on YouTube.
I know, I'll
later.
turn it off when you're ready.
What do you think, David? You think we're ready to kick it back off as far as the second half here?
I want to know what's behind Jeff there first. What's behind you, Jeff?
That's my 6th grade class.
Oh,
Oh, Jeff,
Wow.
I knew that was your 6th grade class. Every 6th grade class looks the same.
Yeah, I'm like right
Get this to be.
right there.
ah.
Oh.
We're proud of you that you graduated 6th grade.
What?
Proud of you that you graduated.
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
sure?
you know.
What about
I think,
Sam Gilman? Is it like 8 in the morning there?
I think about 50% of those people are dead.
At the end of the session, Jeff, you have to go through and name them.
You know, I get the death toll about once a month lately.
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Yeah, class of 69.
Yeah.
Dropping like flies.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Mostly athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get rid of
It's
that.
not good.
Well, I think we've got pretty much everybody back for the second half, so we'll maybe kick this off. We're going to start at page 52, and I'll just do the abbreviated Baruch. We're not going to necessarily take this to 3 in the morning with the normal Birkat, but if everybody's ready, we'll get started and kind of kick it off. What's that? We ate. It was great, and now it's time to say the blessing after the meal. First, you can go ahead and pour another glass of wine.
Page
That's
51.
important, because we'll have to, well, the third cup is
I
coming.
guess you're on your own for them.
All set? Some families will do this with the traditional Birkat Hamazon. You can find this entire prayer, it's a very long one, in a separate little prayer book, sometimes known as a bencher. And it comes from the Yiddish word benchen, meaning to bless. However, Alan and I had a little bit of a meeting essentially before this 44-person Seder. And even though there's a tradition that says if you're being chased by robbers or wild animals, there's a shorter version that you can use. We're going to use the shorter version so we don't have to take this till 2:30 in the morning. So we will start Baruch Rachamanu Malkei De'alma Mare Dahai Pita. Blessed is the merciful one, ruler of the world, creator of this bread. Others may just take a minute to feel the love or simply say thanks out loud So this is the participatory portion of this. On the count of three, everybody will say thanks. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thanks.
Thanks.
Well done. Very good. Okay. Let's see. We're now on the top of page 52. We're going to get prepped for the third cup. Is Sam Gelman with us? I don't see Sam. That's okay. We'll start with Mr. Steve Gelman. Can you take it, Steve, to maybe halfway down, and then Brian, the bottom half of page 52, as far as the now we're going to pour a glass of wine.
Is this the third cup of
That's it. You're going to
Elijah's
do
cup?
the third cup, and Brian's going to do the
Okay.
intro to Elijah.
Okay. All right. Even though we are done eating, we still have 2 more cups of wine or grape juice to drink, plus another cup that we do something a little unusual with. So Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen.
That's it.
Now we're going to pour a glass of wine and open our front door for a prophet named Elijah. Will he drink the wine? Kids, pay close attention to the cup and see if any of what's inside disappears. Why? The prophet Elijah ascended to heaven while still alive, and so the rabbis saw him as a unique figure who was able to travel freely between heaven and earth. Jews consider Elijah to be a messenger of God, which means God tells Elijah what God is thinking or feeling, and Elijah shares with us what God said. According to a later prophet, Elijah will also be the one to bring the message that redemption, a future time of peace on earth, is coming. That's why we call on Elijah at moments when we focus on our hopes for the future, like the shot and the birth of a new baby. On Passover, we go a step further. We invite Elijah and what he represents into our homes, the hope for a better, brighter future.
Great. Now, Brian, if you can take over as far as okay. Why don't you start in the middle of that paragraph on page 53?
Now let's call out
Eliyahu?
Elijah by reciting or singing Eliyahu Hanavi. I'm on this one. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu,
Eliyahu.
Elijah the prophet, Elijah the Tishbite, Elijah the Gilead, quickly in our.
Still with us? Very good. Now we're going to turn to page 57. Larry can help us kick off the fourth cup of wine. If he's with the president, you could ask the president to help us as well, based on his picture. But maybe if he's not able to do that, why don't you start on the top of page 57 for the fourth cup?
Who, me?
You?
I'm busy with Joe.
Unless Joe can help us out. I'd ask him if he's
No,
there.
I'm having a problem here. I'll do something else though.
Yeah.
Call on me later.
Okay. Why
doing my
don't we
best.
try? Noah, can you help us out on the top of page 57 just to introduce the fourth cup?
I'd be happy to.
Oh, there I am.
Thanks.
No, you did.
Just-
We're
there you
done.
go. Unmute yourself. You're good.
Oh, shoot.
You have to turn your volume on. Sorry,
We're getting there.
everyone.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
This is how it goes. We have to be confusing here. The fourth cup had enough wine or grape juice. Some rabbis say that the smallest amount that counts as a cup is 1.7 ounces. That's much less than the 5 ounces that's in a typical glass of wine. It's time for the blessing over the wine one last time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Very good. Now we're actually going to start on the top of page 58 with the Nirza. Simi, why don't you take the first long paragraph, and then if Lisa can help us out, starting in the middle of the page, and then it'll continue going through to page 59. Top of 58 to start for the Nirza.
We've reached the end, but it isn't over yet. Wait, what? Some believe that even though we will all leave the table and go to sleep soon, the Seder is never really done. Every day we should think of ourselves as leaving Egypt. We need to keep on fighting for freedom for others. We need to keep on thinking about ways we can feel free. We need to keep on trying to feel connected to each other, our families, our communities, and with God. And to do this, we need to hold and share our memories person to person, generation to generation. Memories bind us to each other and the past and give us the freedom, the wisdom, and strength to embrace what's ahead. More?
Lisa, you have to unmute.
Did you unmute me?
We're good.
Thank you. My sound engineer took care of it. Thank you.
Good deal. Thanks, kiddo.
It is customary for the last words we recite at this table to be next year in Jerusalem. And that's not necessarily because that's where our Seder will be next year, though it could be. We might also be thinking about the idea of Jerusalem. Jerusalem means city of peace and wholeness. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a time and place where everything felt peaceful and whole? Our tradition tells us that the Hebrew word Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, ends with a plural, im, because there are two Jerusalems. There is the ideal, a city of peace and wholeness that we're supposed to build, and there is the real Jerusalem, a beautiful city of gold that is also a really hard and complicated place. That's true of our lives too. There's what we want, what we're working toward, and there's the reality of our day-to-day, which can be more challenging than we'd like. Our job is to see ourselves in both places, and as we do, to try and bring them a little closer together.
And if you want to continue, Lisa, just at the top.
Sure, I got it. I
59.
had to flip my book.
Good.
So whether or not we think next year will bring us to Israel, next year in Jerusalem is a declaration of hope. Hope that the Jewish people's ancient and ongoing story, our story, will lead to happy and holy places in the next year and beyond. Now, everybody together, L'Shana Haba Yerushalayim.
Next year in Jerusalem, but we're not
Good night,
done yet.
everybody.
We're not done yet. We've got one more top secret panel. So if Linda can help us with the first half, and then Paul, you've got the actual capability to really bring us home in nice style at the bottom, the second half of the top secret on 60. There's Linda. Yeah. You have to unmute. There we go. Linda's right there, but she's not unmuted yet. David, can you unmute Linda?
No, I can't do it.
Okay. Can I unmute Linda? Try that.
Okay,
There we go. She had it.
you gotta hit. What page?
We're at the top of 60, Linda, just the first half
Okay,
under top secret.
give it to someone else. My phone, I have it on my phone and it went away, and so do somebody else.
Jane, can you help us out? Top of 60.
Yes.
Thanks.
Were the Israelites really free? Whew, we made it. Do you feel different? Do you feel free? For the Israelites, it must have been so exciting to be free. The Torah says that after crossing the Red Sea, they sang and danced. But we also know that after all that celebrating, they started complaining. They were tired and hungry and probably scared. They didn't know where they were going or how they would get there. The Torah also says that at this point, God told the Israelites where to go, what to do, what to eat, and even sometimes how to eat. Wait a minute, didn't we just say they were free? The whole point of the story was that they no longer had to listen to Pharaoh telling them what to do. But now that they had left Egypt, God was telling them what to do. So were the Israelites really free? Me more?
No, I think Paul was going to take us home.
Take it, Paul.
Most of us learn that God told Moses to tell Pharaoh to let my people go. But that wasn't all God asked. What God actually said was, tell Pharaoh to let my people go so that they may serve me. That's right. God wanted Pharaoh to let the Israelites go so that they may serve God or follow God's rules. This is kind of confusing, right? Some people might not see following God's rules as freedom. They think freedom means being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But that's not what we get. So now we are free from Egypt. And what does this freedom look like? We are free to celebrate our holidays and sing our songs and pray our prayers. We are free to think, ask questions, and argue about the rules. We are free to rely on our traditions and rituals to guide us on our own journey. We are free to make choices, but that doesn't mean we are free to do whatever we want all the time. And for me, that feels like just the right amount of freedom. How about you?
Well done. Well, we appreciate everybody's help again. This is the second year for the virtual Seder. Alan, where are we as far as the number?
I think this is like 119.
That's
for the
number
Gelman
that you
family
follow, yeah.
Seders. I could be wrong, but I think we're up to 119.
Yeah, because of the virtual difficulty that we have with audio and the reverb and stuff like that, the executive decision making was that we're going to table any further singing this year, but hopefully we'll have a chance to kind of follow up and do that next year. So I think at this point, if everybody wants to unmute, maybe we'll have a chance for folks who want to stick around and schmooze and say hi to one another from all of the disparate parts of the country where we're sitting.
In world. Thank you,
Indeed.
Bob, for doing all of this tonight. You were masterful.
Big payoff.
No, well,
Thank you.
I have a question.
we had a lot of help with a lot of.
I have a question.
What's your question, Sim?
Well, this is the Elijah's cup that
Oh, wait,
apparently
I think I did my.
was brought from Russia by the family
Hmm,
Stanley had.
wow.
But was it the Fine family? Not the Gelman family, right? Mary's family.
I
right?
thought it was the Fine family.
Okay, well, Beth was asking, because I said that this was Elijah's cup from Russia, but because Gus didn't come till he was 25. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I should have asked Stan, but he probably didn't know either.
You want to say goodnight to everybody?
So the Fine.
Want to say goodnight?
Good night. Sweet dreams.
She's a
Mimi's
doll.
going to sleep.
She's got
Well done.
Rebecca's blonde hair.
Uh-huh. So where are you off tomorrow, Larry? You're flying tomorrow?
I'm flying to see Sarah and the kids for the first time in over a year.
Wow.
Kristen and I got our shots, and they're still mad because I didn't get a rapid test appointment
Yes.
for right after I land.
Yeah.
Oh,
Need your sound on again.
So I'm gonna have to beat her again.
It's a small price to pay.
Yeah, so yeah, it was nice to see my grandkids in Hong Kong too. I really appreciate you arranging this.
yeah.
I'm just gonna go over my background.
I need your background.
Paul, your job is to change the background. What is it? Every 12 to 14 seconds? to
Yes.
make it a little different? Okay.
I
Important.
was to say Black Moses, but it got cut off.
Oh.
Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
Duke.
And then Trace, next year, we'll make sure that there's a part at the end for Birdie.
Yeah, she was
Another birdie.
she was sleeping in her bed, which is right here on top of the table, but
Yeah.
she joined us for the last few minutes.
Excellent.
In the brisket, I think.
Yeah, it was the brisket.
Uh-huh.
Well, I wish Kristen had been here, but she wasn't.
You just got your first wife.
No. I was gonna say, I thought it was very ironic that when I was ready to chime in at the end and fill in for what I had missed, that you took it. Just like you took everything else, but it's okay. I'm
Oh,
over
I
it.
looked at it as she was taking care of your mistakes again.
Yeah.
Over it.
Jane, I can't tell you how great it is to see you. I mean, you know, awkward as stuff, you know, but it's wonderful to see you again.
Thank you.
And
Great to
I
be on.
love this because we got everything going here, which is great.
So we,
You know,
so we.
it's been like 18, 19 years since I've seen a bunch of you, so.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And there's a lot of people here who didn't exist, so,
It's a good thing they're name tags.
yeah, really.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I really like that Haggadah too. That's terrific.
Also, I mean.
That's
I
that's
just
David's
weigh
work.
in. I might.
Good
yeah,
find,
Thank you,
David.
Dave. Can I weigh in a little bit more? No?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so there's this book for the people who have been going to these Seders and maybe Kristen, like me, might want this book. It's really good. It's new. It's called The Telling. And I just find it fascinating. I mean, I go to it's called Judaism's Essential Book Reveals the Meaning of Life. I mean, duh, but I didn't know. But anyway, just that's for I don't know. And there are a lot of us
Who wrote
that
it?
are coming in. Mark Gerson.
Mark Gerson?
Mark Gerson.
$85.
It's called The Telling. You should look it up. It's out now, and it's
Okay.
got a lot of good explanations.
What are we
And
Telling.
I think it's like the greatest stories of the Judaism's biggest hits or whatever. Something like
Greatest hits?
The greatest hit.
that. Greatest hits.
Great.
Okay.
Maybe just put a link out on the chat for
Thanks,
everybody.
Dave.
Oh, thanks, Dave. All right.
Okay. Telling Judaism's essential reveal. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that. That's great.
Lizzie, how cold is it up there for you?
It's spring. It was like 40 today.
Whoa, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it was fine.
Excellent. Yeah.
Speaking about cold weather, Bob, how's the Wisconsin house coming?
What house in Wisconsin? Is there? I
Oh,
defer
God.
all of those decisions to my significant other. Nancy's handling all the logistics.
It's good. We're going up there Sunday, next Sunday.
Sunday?
Yeah, we're driving up for a couple
So
weeks.
it's habitable.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I think
Oh,
we have
wow.
furniture and a bed and, yeah,
It'll save my life.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
We have furniture and a bed.
Yeah.
Come and go.
We paid for what's called an occasional
Doesn't
chair. The decorator said we needed an
I wish you-
occasional chair, which means I guess you can only sit in it occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Did
But
you
no,
build
we're
a
looking
house?
forward.
Yeah, well, this is news to me. Where is it?
It's up on the northern end near Ellison Bay. It's about 2 or 3 miles north of Sister Bay, up in the Door County.
Oh,
Peninsula.
wonderful.
Yeah.
You have
We're
to
looking
learn
forward to
about Wisconsin.
Yeah.
This is Door County where they live.
That's it.
Yeah.
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 On
been to
Jane's
Door County.
thumbnail. Yeah, on the
Love
on
it
the
there.
thumbnail. We've been going up there every summer for quite some time, but we've always rented, a place. So this time we figured instead of renting, we'll go ahead and, get a place, which is what we're looking forward to. It's a nice place to be in the summer.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes, it
Great.
is.
we'll all come visit you.
Sure, you have an open invitation, seriously. Yeah. Is there more
Yeah.
than one bedroom?
Yes, lots of bedrooms.
Lots of bedrooms, according to Nancy.
Kim, my dog is sleeping too. There he is.
Oh.
Come and say hi.
I just want to see St. Louis again.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Me too.
This summer,
Fingers crossed, yeah, fingers crossed.
this summer.
We'd love it. Throw
I'll
out
get my
some dates.
vaccination passport and we'll
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. This year in Olivet.
In Olivet or Ladue.
Wherever.
Oh,
Please.
You're all invited to Aspen. We have a house now.
Even Maple.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Who lives in Maplewood?
yeah.
Graham,
Richmond Heights.
Sure.
just like always.
Yeah, I'm a block north of the border. I did do time in Maplewood once.
Yeah.
About 3 years.
Maple weird.
Maple weird.
Yeah.
That's where the original McDonald's was located on Manchester.
Didn't know that.
That doesn't sound like a fact.
There was a Steak and Shake there, but the Steak and Shake there is no longer on Manchester.
Right.
Yeah,
There aren't many.
there's not many, right?
There are not many left at all.
Anyway, Freddy's is much better.
Mhm.
Oh, we've been to.
If you ever have a chance.
Isn't that the one in Fredericksburg?
Is there a Freddy's in St. Louis?
Freddy's in St. Louis, yeah, 2.
Yeah, that was it.
Where?
We were,
Pretty
we
amazing.
went to one in Fredericksburg.
Fantastic.
Harry, you're getting out the boat now because things are warming up there for you guys?
Soon.
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 We need to see if it still works. Didn't sink this year that it like the other year.
When Carrie was in charge of it, it sunk. And I was the way it sunk.
And
It's
Brian says Freddy's is at Olive and Spady.
Oh, okay.
Olive and Spady.
Yeah, next to the movie theater.
Yep.
Okay, I know, yeah.
Freddy's is delicious. It's great. It's the,
Fantastic.
what is it, Kansas
Never
City
been
or
there.
something? Or some guy in Oklahoma or what, I mean.
Yeah, I thought it was out west somewhere.
Ice cream.
Somewhere, Colorado maybe.
Burgers and shakes.
I think it's Kansas. I'm gonna look it up.
Look it up.
Freddy's. I don't know what that is. What's
It's a
Freddy's?
Burger joint. It's a
Freddy,
chain.
it's frozen custard and steak burgers.
Oh,
Oh,
together?
The
link
steak
in the
burgers-
Yeah, the
the
burgers.
steak burgers are incredible.
There you go.
With ice cream. Right?
And
Thank God for Dave
Steak
setting
and
up
shake
all these
burgers.
links.
Are you on mute?
Burgers.
best.
Click the link.
Rachel, introduce us to the person sitting next to you. I
Oh,
don't.
sure. I'd be happy to. This is Catherine.
Hi.
Noah's
Noah's
girlfriend.
Oh, hi.
She's joined us for both Seders, along
Wow.
with Birdie,
Mm-hmm.
who's over there chilling out,
Yeah.
confused by everything.
A little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And Noah's floating around here somewhere.
Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Sam,
Hi, David.
love you.
Love you too. I want to
Thanks
come
so
and
much.
visit you guys. I got my shot.
Yeah.
We're a Pfizer family. How about you?
All right.
There now.
Yeah.
We're a mixed marriage. We got a Pfizer and a Moderna.
Oh, how's that working out?
I'm the Pfizer. I'm happy.
David and I got Dad and I got our second a week ago, so we're 1 week away.
Excellent.
And Noah's still waiting to get become old enough somewhere, so.
Yeah.
David and I just got our first one last week.
Yeah. Well, Steve, you were.
Gracie, that guy over your shoulder looks a little like your grandfather Herman.
Yeah?
Maybe when he was young.
Isn't that Gary Cooper?
Gary
Yeah.
Cooper, yeah.
Well,
Well, they had the same demeanor and tone.
Yeah.
That's their poster.
Well, who's that little baby?
This is Birdie.
Another birdie.
Another Birdie.
No. Same.
My Birdie is spelled B-E-R-T-I-E.
Oh.
R-B-I-R-D-I-E as
A bird. A birdie from a golf. Oh, there you go.
so
Oh,
cute.
that makes a lot of
Is
sense.
that a Boston Terrier?
She's Chihuahua and Boston Terrier. She's a mix. We're not sure exactly how much, but she's like 9 pounds.
Oh,
A little.
she looks so
She's
cozy.
a little, yeah. She'll fall
My
asleep.
birdie's like 70 pounds. She's a black lab mix. We're not really sure what
Wow.
she is.
Oh.
Great.
She's very cool.
Is the plan for all the stuff to go to?
Sure. The vegan, off it goes.
I had a fully vegan Passover.
Oh, she came in.
And she survived. She survived.
Carrie,
That's
how did your
good.
matzo ball soup go?
Oops.
Carrie.
Pardon me? Almost
How
talking.
did your matzo ball soup go?
It's down the drain right now, but it was
really
very,
good.
it was very successful.
But we
Good.
really need a good gefilte fish recipe.
Yeah, the gefilte fish, which came from Russ and Daughters on Houston Street, was very disappointing.
Really?
Actually had bones in it.
It was inedible.
Oh,
Not good.
It was a real carp in the bathtub type situation.
I mean, that was a definite, that was real gefilte fish.
Yeah.
Like grandma used to make with the bones.
I got pretty close to Vivian's brisket, but I'm just not there yet.
That's a
You
tough,
make a good brisket though.
yeah, that's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, it is.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It was delicious. She just sliced hers thinner. That was the only difference.
Yeah, that was a regular project because you had to do that with the slicer and, oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
a big chore.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Okay,
Heavy lift.
next year on the slicer.
We're breaking out
That's it.
the slicer.
Slicer for
Next
you.
year.
Too close to the door.
I've got it.
Tell her, yeah.
Lisa, I've got a slicer for you.
Actually,
got
we have your
one.
mother's.
Uh-huh. You inherited
I
that.
just don't know how to use it.
Oh.
You have
We'll
to
help
be
you with that.
careful. You could have a major industrial accident with those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
OSHA won't cover it.
Get a,
Yeah.
get a Kevlar glove.
Yeah.
A steel glove.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know when you want to play with that and we'll come over. We'll
Yeah,
we'll help you out.
Ours might be safer.
Yeah.
is that the white manual slicer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This one's electric.
Electric.
Yeah.
Electric?
Yeah, electric.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, there was an earlier model.
Oh.
What, like a little pedal thing?
Had to-
Thinking about those.
Get the sewing machine off,
Get
put
this-
the meat slicer on.
Mhm.
I'm amazed that those List brothers were all in the same house. That was so nice.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for Brian's birthday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It hasn't happened since November. In fact, it didn't even
amazing.
happen in November because Brendan was in Phoenix in November.
Hmm.
So
Right.
it's been a really long time. Yeah, it was really special this weekend.
Yeah,
That's
that's so
great.
sweet.
Good stuff.
Benji, how are you? What's going on with you?
I'm good. Not much. I was just upstate for a week with my partner, and I'm back in the office. Well, not the office, but I start back at work tomorrow. So I definitely have the Sunday scaries. But otherwise, I'm good.
Where were you upstate?
Yeah, we were in Beacon, New York, which is like 2 hours north of the city.
Okay.
Really, really gorgeous, like Hudson Valley town.
I used to go to Colgate, and
Oh, yeah.
one of the most indelible memories was when I hit the New York State Thruway. It was just glorious, just
yeah,
the most
so
beautiful
pretty.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, my partner does not drive, so I was not able to gawk at the mountains while on the road, but we did get a lot of hikes in, which is good.
That's so nice.
Good.
Very good.
Here we go.
Well, again, it was great getting together with everybody. We'll do a recap,
you.
David, later on in terms of follow-up, and stay tuned as far as what our planning will be for next year. And everybody drive safely, travel safely, stay
You
safe.
too. Bob,
We'll
thank
look
you. You
forward
did a
to
great
getting
job.
together next time.
Bob, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, I hope. Bye-bye.
Maybe we could do it on Tisha B'Av.
Bye.
Great.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.